Now I would like to introduce the workshop, so we will all use your talents and intelligence, and I would like to introduce um, Christian de Boisredon. You heard his brother yesterday. Christian is a social entrepreneur. He's an Ashoka Fellow. He created Sparknews, a social business which identifies innovative and positive projects and shares them through international editorial operations with renowned medias. So, welcome,
Thank you.
Christian.
Thank you, Christopher.
Do you need
I don't. I have this, but I have a part of my team, Clémentine, and a part of the editors-in-chief we worked with. So they came to testify about the project. So before, so you can see you have your name on the shares. So I will introduce them to you later on. First, I have a question. What do you feel when you look at the news? Depressed. Okay, you're nice to me. You're making it easy for me. Yeah, exactly. Usually we feel depressed. And of course, it's important for the news media to address the problems because they make us aware about the problems. But it has a double impact when they also deal with the solutions because we know the problem, then we can deal with the solution. If we know about diabetes, it's great, okay, it's important, but what can we do? And then if we hear about Jerry the bear, then we know that there is a solution. Maybe we can join Anna to help her. So that's the idea. Let me tell you another story. It's the story of two young social entrepreneurs in Chile in the 80s. They were wondering how they could do something for people in the slums, but something sustainable. And they were looking for a great idea. And once one of them saw an article about Mohamed Yunus in the 80s, so it was one of the first microcredit articles. And he said to himself, that's a great idea. If it's working in Bangladesh, we should do it in Chile. And then they created the first microcredit bank in Chile. And after 25 years, it has created more or less 100,000 jobs indirectly. And actually, I realized that if the journalist didn't write this article, he wouldn't have changed the life of 100,000 people. And the most funny of the story is that the journalist doesn't even know that he has changed the life of 100,000 people. And actually, one of those two guys is my brother Hubert, who spoke yesterday and is here. So in a way, he inspired me to create Sparknews. What we did is that we realized that the newspaper and the news media, they are not against talking about the solutions and the positive things that are working. It's that usually they don't know where to find the subjects. So this is why we created a platform, a video platform, with a video where we aggregate all the videos, and we will show some of them later on. And then we decided that it's great to have the ideas, but then we need to give an incentive to the news media to talk about it. So we decided to convince 40 editors-in-chief of the biggest newspaper of 40 countries, such as the Sunday Times, the Times of India, Le Monde, L'Orient Le Jour, which is the biggest in Lebanon, La Regione di Ticino, which is the biggest Swiss Italian-speaking newspaper, and they are here to represent some of the newspaper, but also the biggest in Singapore, in Kenya, in Brazil, in Mexico. And they all accepted to join the project, and the idea is to each one of them, they produce 1, 2, or 3 articles. We put all of them together. We share the translation. And on the same day, we make a supplement of 8 pages that reach 100 million people. And 100 million people everywhere in the world read about innovative solutions. And they liked the first experience, so now they are doing it better. Also, the TVs asked us to join us. So it's not that the news media, they don't want to talk about the problems, about the solutions. It's just that they needed the opportunity and the occasion to do it. And we make seminars with them to think about how the news media can be part of the changing world. One example of the impact of when news media talk about solutions. For example, with our video platform, we found out a great project, a guy who realized that you have 1 billion people who don't have glasses just because they don't have optometric or people to make glasses in their villages. And one guy said, okay, that's not a problem. We will invent universal glasses, glasses that fits to everybody. So people told him, well, it's not possible. He said, well, let's try. And actually, he found out universal glasses that already existed. The patent was free, and nobody used it. And actually, it's glasses with two lenses, and with a screw, you just move the lenses, and then it adjusts the sight to anybody. So for $4, you have glasses that fit to everyone. So we told this story in the Impact Journalism Day into all the newspapers, and one of them was the Straits Times in Singapore. And one of the readers was one of the head of Essilor, you know, the leading glasses company, lenses company, and he didn't know about this story, so he contacted us and said, well, that's a great story, so maybe could you introduce us to those guys? So we organized a meeting, and now they are working together for a trial, and from 300,000 glasses, they will probably go to a few million or a dozen of million. And the journalist wants to tell this story, so it's you circle the you end the circle. So this is, for example, the example we did in Le Monde. And actually, what we would like to propose you, is to make a workshop. But before making a workshop, I asked to some of the editors-in-chief who participate to the project to tell what they experienced, and also we will show you some videos so you can be inspired and then design new ideas for the Impact Journalism Day in 6 years. So Luca, you are from the region of Ticini. You are the editor-in-chief for the web.
Yep.
And what do you want to share?
First of all, we have to say that La Regione is joining as freshmen. We are in our freshman year, so I cannot really share our previous experience of the first Impact Journalism Day. But we can share, me and Rocco is the CEO of La Regione, our thoughts about what made us say yes to Christian's proposal. When I started being a journalist some 13 years ago, my first editor-in-chief told me, you know, there are two thumb rules in journalism. The first is in English, and it's not fully translatable in Italian. It's the rule of the 5 whys. So where, who, when, where, and what. And you have to put them all at the beginning of your article. The second one, it's in Italian, and not fully translatable in English. And it's the rule of the 3 S's. S. And that's basically sangue, so blood, soldi, money, and sex. No need to articulate on that. And he told me, you know, those are the main topics that will sell. And when this rule of 3 S's it has been created, there were no real mean to measure if it was true or not. Then internet came, we had the mean to measure, and guess what? It turns out it works. Okay. Now we have a rule that works, and probably nobody, there has been little experimentation on other fields, on other topics, because we have a rule that works, we know how it works, we know we'll get our readers, so no problem with that. But what we are starting to see now, and what it's at the base of, it's the core of our reflection as La Regione Ticino that convinced us to join Impact Journalism Day, is that we are starting to feel that people are also interested in good stories. I mean, in good stories, not only as they were told, but also in stories that bring solutions. They are interested in seeing that the world is not as black as we depict it. That there is not just problems, but there are also solutions. And so this convinced us to join this adventure, and perhaps in the future we have to add a fourth S, that's social.
Great, thank you very much. Émilie, you are editor-in-chief for L'Orient Le Jour. What do you want to share?
So actually we participated last year to the Impact Journalism Day. And what I wanted to say that, so I'm actually editor-in-chief of the web edition of L'Orient Le Jour, which is a Lebanese newspaper. I've been in Beirut for 15 years, working for L'Orient Le Jour and working as a correspondent. So what I've been doing for most of the last 15 years is stories about hard news that are usually bad news in this region. And at some point, I think I reached a level of saturation. And I remember like two years ago, I was looking at the homepage of the newspaper, and I realized it was a necrology. We had dead people everywhere. So, and I said, this is news, we have to cover it, of course, but there is more to it, more to news than that. And then I thought, and there is also, I mean, we were writing stories about good initiative and everything, but we had a problem of balance. We had a lot of very bad news, and we had some stories about good initiatives. So I said, I mean, we have to restore this kind of balance. And more than that, we have to go back to one of the big mission of the journalist, because we can't be only rapporteur of the news. We have to be actors in the society, in all kind of dimensions. And this is what was interesting with Impact Journalism Day. We restore a kind of balance, and we go back to a core mission of journalism. So in our supplement, we did 8 pages last year with stories from all over the world. And the good thing is that it brings hope, and we need that. It brings food for thought, and it brings food for action, which is even better. And I felt that actually it gave a higher meaning to what we were doing, that's it, to what we were doing on a daily basis. And what was also interesting is that because we organized a seminar after the first Impact Journalism Day, and actually we realized that we met journalist editors-in-chief from Singapore, Kenya, France, Belgium, everywhere, and they shared the same problem, commitment, and will to change, and that was actually very satisfying. So that's why we're doing it again this year.
Thank you very much. And Rocco, what you want to share about the experience?
If you ask me why we joined this project, I would probably say it's kind of instinct and feeling that's a good thing, but I would try anyway to give 3 points what from the side of publisher are important for us. First, Impact Journalism Day is a network of newspapers, and we are a regional newspaper. And I think in a moment where the media are kind of crisis of identity, it's very important to have the possibility to share with around the world, with your network around the world, experience and thoughts and the possibility how we could make it better. This 1 point. Second point is is a very big question for us in the era of internet as well. What is quality journalism? What is good journalism? And we think that Impact Journalism Day give another possibility of doing quality journalism, because the story of a problem and the solution of it means of the research. You have to research. You can not only give the problem probably fast everybody knows. The solution, the journalists have to search for it. And this is quality, I think. And the third point is the responsibility of media. We have the responsibility of give back to the customer, to the people who read us or news, the best picture of the world, the best in a completely way, the completely, and solutions and the people who are making good stuff it belongs to a good picture, a full picture of the world. And that's because we are happy and inspired of being part of the project.
Okay, thank you very much. So you have 40 other editors-in-chief who are joining the project. Before starting the workshop, we want to inspire you and to show some example of what we call impact journalism or solution journalism. So you would see some of them are quite emotional. And here is the first one.
Not all of our students have the chance to travel abroad and to interact with native speakers of English. What our students really want is to speak English fluently, and we're always asking ourselves, how can we make it more real, more human? A tool that connects our students with seniors in the USA living in retirement homes.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Melissa.
Hi, Dick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's the first time that I'm talking with someone from another country.
I'm very excited to be doing this.
I look like I'm only 25, but I'm 88.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
No, I'm one child.
Only one? Oh, you poor fella.
I'm live with my old brother. He has 23 years.
Do you know, instead of saying he has 23 years, you could say he is 23 years old.
I tried to go to Lollapalooza that we have next week, I think, in Brazil, but my mom didn't let me.
You got a good mom.
Good morning, dear Julia. Good morning to you.
This is your dad?
That's me and my wife when we were young.
Oh, you were good looking when you were young. And you're still good looking.
My first destiny is United States, of course, because I wanted to put better my English.
Well, you do very well, I must say.
Are you planning someday to go to Brazil?
Oh, I would like to.
You can stay in my house if you want.
If you could just dream and have whatever you want, what do you think you would like to be doing?
I see myself in a big family, with a beautiful wife. I want to thank you for this change of experience, You are incredible.
Obrigado.
You are my new granddaughter, and I love you.
I love you too.
And if you were here, I would give you a big hug.
Oh yeah, let's hug. Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, this is one. This is another example. As you know, there is 10% of the drugs which are counterfeit, which makes huge problems, and also a problem for the business because a lot of drug companies don't go in some countries because they are afraid to be counterfeit. And a company, an African company with a partnership with Orange and also HP, they invented a very simple idea. It's a scratch code, a code with a scratch when you play Lotto, or, and you have a unique code, and so the purchaser enters the code into his cell phone, because they all have cell phone with a SMS, and it tells automatically if it's a correct drug or a false one. So it's a great innovation, social innovation. Another innovation, carrying water is a huge burden, and a designer invented a rolling container, so it's much easier. Another great story, it's the story of a conductor, music conductor, who wanted to bring music in the slums. And actually the social worker told him, well, the problem is that the violin is worth as much as the house of the people, so it doesn't make sense. Even if you have the money, you can't have such expensive instruments. So the conductor really wanted to bring music in the slums. So he went into the slums and he met with a guy who was making a lot of different stuffs from the garbage, and he was selling them, so like lamps, like little cars, and he was very gifted. And he still doesn't know why, but he asked him, would you be able to make an instrument, a violin? And the guy said, well, I don't know, I never saw a violin, I don't even know what is it. So he brought a violin, and the guy made a violin. And then he made all the instruments of an orchestra, and you can see what it makes.
Mi nombre es Ada Maribel Ríos Bogado, tengo 13 años y toco el violín.
Me llamo Juan Manuel Chávez, más conocido como Baby, tengo 19 años y toco el cello. Este cello está hecho de una lata de aceite, la madera tirada en la basura y las clavijas son de una vieja cuchara para golpear la carne y para hacer el ñoquis. Y suena así.
Una comunidad como Cateura no es un lugar para tener un violín. De hecho, un violín cuesta más que su casa.
En ese grupo acá mismo encontramos el colador de violín. Y de ese empezamos los instrumentos reciclados. La familia que acá vive recicla todo lo que hay en la basura y se vende. No pensaba antes que yo voy a hacer ese instrumento. Y me siento demasiado feliz cuando estoy viendo a un niño que está tocando un violín reciclado.
Cuando ya escucho el sonido del violín siento como mariposa en el estómago, así una sensación que no sé cómo voy a explicar.
La orquesta de instrumentos reciclados es una orquesta que toca instrumentos hechos con la basura.
Well, if you want to see the following, you go to Sparknews. Actually, it's a video we quite often use. For example, we make a conference in the companies, and I tell the leaders, I think the conductor is a leader because he saw in this guy somebody that the guy didn't knew it was possible to do. And I think it's the role of the leaders, and most of them are in the room, to have this vision that are things that are possible even if we don't know they are possible. Another example, it's a guy who realized that you have 10% of electricity which is used to refresh the data centers with the air conditioning, which is crazy because in other places you need to heat the houses. So this guy created servers that are used as radiators. and he sells the capacity of calculation to the company because the radiators is connected to the internet. So the video is in French, it's only 1 minute, but you will understand through the images.
Un ordinateur, quand ça effectue des calculs, ça dégage énormément de chaleur. Alors notre idée, c'est de profiter directement de cette chaleur grâce à un radiateur ordinateur. En fait, on a créé le premier radiateur numérique au monde. Pour schématiser, on a remplacé les résistances électriques du radiateur classique par des microprocesseurs. Plus l'utilisateur monte le chauffage, plus les microprocesseurs pourront effectuer des calculs. Et tous nos radiateurs sont reliés à Internet, ce qui fait qu'on dispose d'une grande capacité de calcul. Et nous, notre métier, c'est justement de vendre cette capacité de calcul à des entreprises ou des centres de recherche. Pour vous donner un exemple, les calculs nécessaires pour réaliser un film d'animation 3D peuvent chauffer plusieurs milliers de personnes pendant un an. Et pour l'utilisateur, c'est tout bénef, on lui rembourse sa consommation électrique de chauffage. D'ici la fin de l'année, on aura déjà installé 350 radiateurs numériques. Et c'est qu'un début.
C'était Émission de solutions avec la Massif.
So one of our job at Sparknews is to connect that kind of innovation with the business area. So we talked about this to GDF Suez and suggested them to add this solution in their offer to their clients. I think it's the last example. It's an example of how it's important to understand other people's culture to make the change. Sometimes we have great ideas, but it doesn't work just because we didn't understand the culture. So you will enjoy this video.
When I first moved to Cambodia, I lived in a rural village, and it took a little bit of time before people got used to this sort of foreigner wandering around. Initially, I was here to search for a remedy to a problem. Anemia, caused by a lack of iron in the blood. It causes dizziness and weakness. It breeds complacency and lethargy. Kids can't concentrate in school. It also causes premature births and problems during pregnancy for women. Nearly 2 out of 3 children are anemic. But this piece of metal has the power to stop it all. My challenge was to find a way to supplement the typical Cambodian diet of fish and rice. I knew that iron pills and other iron treatments weren't really affordable by many people in the villages. In my search, I found that cooking in a cast iron pot can release iron into the food, and that iron is then absorbed in the diet. But I realized that most Cambodian women use aluminum pots because they're cheaper and lighter. And then I got to thinking, what if I could get them to put this chunk of iron in their pot? It would be a simple, cheap, and accessible treatment that even the remote villagers could use. But my simple solution had one big problem. I found that the women were hesitant to add this sort of ugly piece of iron into their pots. I found that the iron blocks came in very useful, but just not in the pots. And so I realized I had to dig a little bit deeper. I searched for everything. I looked at sayings and beliefs, I looked at rituals, anything that would give me a better understanding of Cambodian culture. And then I landed this, a symbol of good luck. I think I was a little bit shocked when I found out how positive the findings were. In the test areas, anemia has pretty much disappeared altogether, which is absolutely astounding. It was far exceeded what we had expected. We're hoping that this little fish holds the key to treating anemia across the region and beyond. It's definitely one lucky fish.
Well, as you can see, by the way, usually it's the big corporation who sponsored those videos. So it's also a way to share solutions. The last example, which is not coming. well, don't know if it's. Well, can I let you recover it? It's the story of the Times of India. Times of India is the biggest newspaper in India. It's 5 million copies every day. It's one of our partners for Impact Journalism Day, by the way. And actually, the huge problem between India and Pakistan is the war, and they don't trust each other, and they don't like each other. And one day, the president of Times of India, whom we are working with, said to himself, "We cannot keep just counting the points, counting the number of killed people on both sides. We must be actors. We must act." So he ran to the president of the biggest newspaper in Pakistan, and he said, "What about doing together a big campaign in our newspapers about everything we share in common and all the reasons we have to make peace and not war? And the title for you will be Love India, and I will title my newspaper Love Pakistan." And before this campaign, 59% of Indian people were for peace, and after the campaign, 74 people became for peace. So it had a huge impact just by doing that job of journalist. And by the way, the campaign was very successful. So it was also economically successful. And it's not the only initiative they had. And this is the last video to inspire you for the workshop. They realized that in India they need leaders. And there are many leaders in the villages that cannot pop out just because they don't have education or they don't have the networks, as you said. So they decided to make a huge campaign in their TVs on the Times of India to search for the leaders which are already leaders in their villages. Sometimes for not big things, but if they are leaders for little things, maybe they can be the leaders of India. So they made a campaign that I find very inspiring. So you will see it's a Bollywood style. So it's quite cheesy. It's a little cheesy, but I love it, and I'm happy to share it with you.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है। चल चल
I hate this country.
तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले। लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। ओ लगा हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो अकड़ के चलो, उफक पे पाँव रखो और चलो पकड़ के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो। तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, तुम चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, हिंदुस्तान चले।
Okay, now it's your turn to work. So Clémentine, who works with me, I have the chance to have a wonderful colleague. She will explain to you the idea of the workshop.
Yes, so now it's time to work for you, and we gave you a lot of examples to inspire you. And the idea is that all together you are going to create the edition of Impact Journalism Day for 2020. So you can have a lot of imagination because it's in a few years. And yeah, you have a framework on your table. So basically what we are going to ask you is that individually you think about a solution that you would like to be highlighted in the Impact Journalism Day, and then you will share it with your whole table and design all together the front pages of Impact Journalism Day. So to help you, we would like to give you an example of problems that you can maybe feel concerned about. So we suggest that you take the problem you really
care about.
Yeah, you care about, and that you have like you feel injustice about it. And so, for instance, that can be about environmental problems, health issue, food, education, human rights, corruption, new technology, education, and many other, because we know there are a lot of problems in this world. And then we give some tools to help you design your solutions. So basically, if you think about your the beneficiary, like the people you really want to help, that will be a first step. And then think about the impact you can have, like really dare to be crazy, because it's an imagination exercise. So really take the courage to be very brave and want to have a huge impact on the world. And finally, if you want to be a bit more precise in the solution that you can design, think about the stakeholders, the different people or organizations that this solution would require, so that you can it can work widely. So these are only tools to guide you. If you have another method to find solution, it's also perfect. And so what we suggest is that you take maybe 15 minutes to think individually about really the problems that you want to solve, and the solution that it could be implemented to solve it. And then we will pass around to help you if you want. And then you will be able to share with your whole table to create collaboratively the world of tomorrow.
And then you write the title of the story and the l'accroche, the
catchy phrases
yeah,
to
the
describe
first
it.
sentence. And this is prospective. So imagine what you could create or participate to, and that would be in the Impact Journalism Day in 6 years. And our journalists can go into all the tables, so if you want them to help you in making a catchy title, and they are here to help you. Thank you.
Okay, so everybody, it's over. No more 5 minutes. Sorry, we need to keep our timing. What we suggest now is that if you want to share your best ideas to the rest of the room, we are happy to pass you the micro on. So who want to share his ideas for the new world of tomorrow? I know that you have much more ideas than space on the paper, so don't be shy, don't be afraid, be courageous. Yes. Who want to share?
So we created an application for mobile phone to help people living in slums in France, because actually there are more than 200,000 people living in slums in France, even if we are the 10th richest country in the world. All the figures are false, actually. It's just for the pitch. So we all these people, they don't have access to drinkable water, electricity, lighting, social services. So our NGO decided to create an application for mobile phone where everybody can find on a simple map all the drinkable spots nearby their living place, all the restaurants or the boutiques where you can have access to a plug or to anything to charge your mobile phone or any kind of electricity you can look for, and also social services. So today we have already more than 1 million people using the app. So
amazing! Thank you very much. Big applause. Who's next?
So our headline is 100 million people now provided with free healthcare. And this has been facilitated by encouraging doctors to donate some of their time and providing it through clinics around the world using the internet and using video services. So these particular clinics are self-sufficient in the sense that they provide medicine locally by producing herbs and wellness and different natural approaches as well as clinical approaches. And it's funded through the data that's collected from all of this information that's sold or provided as analytical information. So obviously with the information you get from 100 million patients, you know a lot about what needs to improve, etc. So the network is effectively free to the patients and delivered through the goodwill of the doctors who donate 30 minutes of their time every month. So that's our project.
Great. Congrats. Yes. What do you want to share? I know that you had too many ideas. Which one do you want to highlight?
So imagine that 100 mayors of the big 1+ million cities come to Zermatt next year, and they are very inspired by Zermatt city, where you can't find any car within the city. And so they just compete all together and say, within 10 years, who will be the first big city to completely vanish private cars from the cities. So they just create a very big competition, open access competition worldwide to get many ideas, because of course what we shared is that we don't have only one solution for that. You have to find many different solutions, such as of course a very good public transport, some bikes, Google cars, good collaboration between companies to integrate the logistical supply chain, etc., etc. And after 10 years, they just come back here to Zermatt and show that they could make it. And it was really people within the city really take advantage of living in in a city where you don't have so many cars.
Thank you. So your turn.
Okay, so we were thinking there are so many solutions already existing in the world in all areas. How do we catalyze more people to copy them, to innovate and copy the thinking, and to actually go start implementing them? And we were thinking of creating a 30-day global impact leadership project for normal people who want to have a personal enrichment program at some stage in their lives. And we take them to actual places to experience the solutions that already exist that normal people would say it is impossible. And then we get them involved, hands-on, and we then have a class project where they take on their first project that they create themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to tell you a buffalo story. Very special story of India. Sunita is 36 years old, has 4 children, lives in the outskirts of Delhi. Her husband is alcoholic. He has left her about 7 months ago. He's probably living somewhere in Mumbai. She doesn't know. So a very difficult situation for Sunita to look after the children. And I can tell you the background, you know, when her husband was still there, they were being nourished by the selling of snakes. And snake selling near Delhi is prohibited by the government. So there's no situation for the future, no sustainable situation to get a job. And so from the NGO, we had the idea to provide them buffaloes, and with donations, to give them a buffalo for better nutrition and also for ecology. That with the buffalo, the advantage is that you get very rich milk, better milk than you can buy in the market, because normally in the market the milk is mixed halfway with normally bad water, so the children get diarrhea, so it's no solution for the future. And with this rich milk, the children can have a good nutrition. At the same time, I can tell you about half of the milk this Sunita can use actually for her family, and half she can sell on the market, so she gets an income. That's the next step. And with the income, she can improve the living standard. She can improve the living standard in that way that she even gets light in her little hut in the outskirts of Delhi. And with the light, her kids have the chance to make housework even in the evening. So that's part of the education, part of the improvement for the education. And I don't know if you know, in Delhi, in wintertime it can get quite cold. So with the buffalo, she has also a firewood solution. With dung, you dry in the sun, you have a possibility to make, to heat your little hut. So this is actually one solution we did with SS Children's Villages where I work. And the idea is to adapt that to other countries, because there are many Asian and African countries where you have buffaloes, and maybe from the beginning you think, okay, what has buffalo to do with children's health? But it's a very sustainable process, also ecologically, and with that we could reach in a few years maybe quite a few children, and not just the about 2,000 children we reach now, but it could go to millions. This is our idea.
Thank you. So, what is your idea?
Okay, so we were 7 on the table, and actually we were not able to choose one. So we're going to provide you with the ideas. We were able to create a better world. So the first thing is that from Africa is so-called, well, right now the dark country. So Africa is not becoming the enlightened country, because the enlightened continent, sorry, because powerful, well, will use the light to effectively produce energy and help people to develop there. From there, in our country, we thought also about energy, because we will have indigenous power in Chile, and also each community will produce its own energy and will be self-sufficient in energy. With that energy, we also thought about our children. And actually, children can be educated, but they will all spend at least 6 months doing social activities, is that right? So civil service, sorry. And so they will be in contact really with the reality of the world, supporting communities, going, tell me again. Oh yeah, doing with retired people and with people in areas where usually they don't receive knowledge and so on. And with that, we also have people here living longer and happier living, because the most free causes for death has been eradicated, because people will have developed new tools to take care of themselves, and they will take care of the people in the community. So I think with that we have created a better world where we feel happier to live, and yeah, that's it.
Congrats. Who want to talk?
So I was a little bit biased because we had 7 or 6 projects, and then I asked them, so what will the Zermatt Summit do in 6 years, or what will it become? Because that's a real key question we have. And the suggestion was that do I have to stand up? Oh, okay. You've seen my face enough. So the idea was that we would continue the co-creation project with Shoka and connect social entrepreneurs with larger companies, which you will see now in the next part of the program. And we would probably get some coaching from people who are retired, who could follow these projects. We would maybe even go into a certification, join certification on the common good. And we would eventually create a fund a fund which could help financially some of these co-creation projects. So there would be the financial side, there would be the skills from large companies working with the social entrepreneurs, which is already being done, but it is a small scale. And obviously the idea is to create new jobs, also here in Europe. And Zermatt could be one place where this happens. Is that okay?
All right, so our group had such a diversity of ideas that really the only constraint for our team was really the fact that my hand cramped up about halfway through filling this thing out. So I'm going to read you the 3 news stories that we wrote down. The first one was entitled Central Banks Join the Party, and that Basel IV has now been implemented, which includes a credit against the capital requirements for banks across Europe that's based on the bank's investments in social capital based on the Zermatt consensus recently developed. This is expected to lower systemic risk and diversify economies across the developed world. Another one of our headlines was How They Make Us Better. This was based on the problem of the fact that one of the well-known facts is that immigration uniformly improves the performance of many economies and helps out both the people in the country where they're immigrating to as well as the immigrants themselves, and yet it generally is not well supported politically. And so the news story is that a new high school exchange program is allowing students to understand other cultures and perspectives within their very own cities, where there's a day exchange program where individual students will go and live with a host family for 1 day a month, helping them understand and value diversity while making new friends and reinforcing the value of a diverse society. And our final story was called Social Media Celebrates Heroes of the Future. And this was a campaign that celebrates through social media everyday heroes who say no to corruption and enhance the common good. Build faith and empowerment in the power of civic engagement. So that was a brief summary of our group's discussion.
Awesome, thank you very much. And finally,
we have three wonderful topics to present. So the first one was basically you take your build and you use it as a seed, in order to plant whatever, a tree or whatever. We're going to need a lot of research on this one. But we have a wonderful drawing if you need to. The second one is you have a roll-on machine, quite like a Segway, and it's in order to get a better mobility. So every Segway roll-on machine can get after on his own. So like this, everyone after a trip together can split and go on his side. And the last one was the shoes that when you are working is generating electricity, and after you can plug whatever you want on it. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you also to Veronique, who made the drawing, and she will draw some of your stories so you can take a picture of the Zermatt Times Impact Journalism Day, and you can post it on on Facebook or whatever, so you can share all those solutions. Just to finish, if you want to be part of the project, there are many ways. One of them is to be a sponsor or an advertiser, and so for the same price, you change the world because you inspire people. So don't hesitate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Christopher, for inviting us. For Ashoka also for making me and Sparknews a fellow, and they make a wonderful job, and I'm happy to work closer with them. Thank you to all of you.
A warm hand to Christian and the team.